Welcome to a very special program. It's part of a campaign that Diageo and NDTV have been running now for 4 years. It's a campaign for Road to Safety. It's an effort at building up awareness across the country, drawing awareness to some very sad but real statistics on the number of people who lose their lives in accidents on our roads every single year. It's about social responsibility. It's the responsibility of all of us, as people in the media, as citizens, as corporates, to try and raise awareness on an issue that directly affects all of our lives. When it comes to road safety, why exactly are we doing this? And I'll repeat some of the latest numbers we have. The numbers themselves are from the latest government numbers on road crash statistics. Now, these are 2016 numbers because the numbers for 2017 are in the process of being compiled. But the reason we are really doing this show is to let people know, remind them, and this number will come as a surprise for many, that 1,50,785 people were killed in road accidents in India in 2016. 2015-2016, the numbers seem to spike, and the big effort is to try and bring the numbers down. How is that going to happen? Now, we talk about fatalities on the roads, but I think it's also important to refer to injuries on the roads. And the numbers for 2016 were as astounding. 4,94,624 people were injured in road accidents, many of them very seriously injured. All of this costs us as a nation. We're going to be looking at various aspects of this today, and we are very happy to be here at the Indian School of Management and Entrepreneurship in Mumbai. I'd like to introduce our panel. Amitesh Kumar is Joint Commissioner, Mumbai Traffic. Thanks very much for being with us. Abanti, a person who's been with us for 4 years, our partner on this particular program. Abanti Shankar Narayanan is Chief of Strategy and Corporate Affairs at Diageo and has worked with us in really planning how to take this campaign forward over the years. Indu Shahani is Dean of ISME. Thanks, ma'am, for agreeing to be with us. Mr. Anil Dharkar requires no introduction, the well-known writer and columnist, and somebody who considers this theme important and close to his heart, and somebody else who needs absolutely no introduction, Nasir Abdullah, the actor on us on this program. Mr. Kumar, let me come to you first. You know, in this country, when we talk about road safety, and in a city as large as Mumbai, do you believe there needs to be a start to have drivers' education as part of school curriculum? Because unless people learn early about how to save themselves and protect others, you know, this job becomes much more difficult for people like you.
Certainly, I would say that not only drivers' education, I would say basically education on all aspects of traffic, right from school. School itself has to be a part of the curriculum, and that's what we have always been pressing for. I would say that we have a mechanism where we have been trying to reach out to schools and colleges to educate children on all aspects of traffic rules and regulations. But I would say that it has all been a very ad hoc exercise, not only in Mumbai but all across. We have to have a system, a comprehensive system where we reach out on a systemic basis. The whole concept has to be institutionalized, because we must realize that children, both school as well as college children, are very, very important, not only to inculcate the right habits right from the early age itself. Secondly, we have also noticed that children, when they have a huge impact on the way the family behaves, and we have had examples where children have told their parents to start following traffic rules and regulations in respect of small things like wearing seat belts or wearing helmets, which is very, very important part of road safety. Yes, education for children, for college students is a must, and also because the figures you said, I would like to add that a majority of those killed and injured are in that working population age group of I would say 21, 22 to 49. That's a majority of those people who either die or are injured, and we must educate people to follow voluntary compliance of rules and regulations. Traffic rules and regulations is very important, and I always, whenever I interact with children, with youth, I say that these are the easiest rules to follow.
Yeah.
Yet the voluntary compliances are much, we have to do a lot about it.
In fact, just that number, sir, that you were referring to, I've got those numbers. 46.3% of people killed in road crashes were between the ages of 18 and 35. This is the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways' own data. And that, you know, I mean, young people losing their lives, people who contribute so much to the growth of our country, the GDP of the country, quite besides the fact that the loss of somebody so young is devastating for families. Abanti, why has Diageo chosen to be a part of this campaign? What part of your agenda does this fill?
As a global premium drinks company, Vishnu, for Diageo, this is really about making an impact, positive impact in the markets and the societies in which we operate, but also because it makes very good business sense. And the reason I say that is because for us, we would like the consumption of our brands to be in moments of positive celebrations, as part of social occasions, and therefore any kind of drinking which is either irresponsible or harmful to individuals, to families, is just not the right thing for society. It's not even the right thing for our business. And you know, we operate in different markets around the world. We do a lot of partnership programs across the world in anti-drink drive, and therefore we believe that we can add value to a larger endeavor in a society such as India.
Mr. Thakkar, let me be cynical and ask you this. You know, why do we need to be doing a program like this? Is it because, unfortunately, when it comes to road safety in our country, there is no value for life? The fact that these numbers have been rising for a long period of time, the fact that we've had some of the most lax standards of safety, whether it's in the structural integrity of our vehicles in this country, or whether it is in compliance, whether it is in enforcement, that we don't really care. I mean, is that something which, as a citizen, concerns you most?
Well, there are a lot of factors. One, as you said, safety is not one of our concerns. You see two-wheeler drivers who are the most vulnerable, refusing to wear helmets unless they see there's a nakabandi happening or the cop is coming. Only then they'll wear it. The pillion rider will never wear a helmet, and he or she is equally vulnerable. Similarly, with safety belts, seat belts, this is something which, unless it has been enforced, people didn't do it.
Ma'am, your students have actually made an effort at trying to spread this message. You believe that as an educational institution, you know, education extends beyond what you teach in classrooms to actually reach out to students, and this is part of the message that you're trying to send. So what sort of impact do you believe your students or you have had as part of this sort of campaign is concerned?
So, you know, personally, I've been very, very passionate about this road safety. I was the sheriff of Mumbai, and I instituted this in schools and colleges when I was the sheriff. But when I became the dean of these new institutions that I came to, and we had, of course, we looked at all these statistics that we look at, and we are all aware of those statistics, but we ourselves had a very, very tragic incident. And that's when we, all students, sat together and we decided and pledged that we're going to do something about it and not just leave it to the police or anyone to do it.
Nasir, when one talks about the quote-unquote Bollywood lifestyle, there's often this, you know, this fast life of parties and alcohol, and unfortunately in the past there has been accidents as well which have been caused as a result of alcohol consumption. You know, when young people watch Bollywood films, or they try and understand this Bollywood life, how is it important to stress to them that, you know, there are certain rules and there is a certain yes and no, and when it comes to drinking and driving, that is an absolute no?
Okay, I'll say this, that it is applicable to all all walks of life. I mean, you know, you have lawyers and etc. also crashing their cars after having had one too many, going in the wrong lane, etc. So Bollywood should not be the only place where we actually. But it's extremely important because now the consumption of alcohol is really like stupendous, and youngsters at a very young age are having a fair amount of it, and then, you know, they drive, etc., want to show off, and unfortunately it takes 1/6 of a second to have an accident. So there are many things that are not fully enforced. Helmets are worn without the straps being on.
Quickly, because I wanted to ask him a question.
I wanted to say, in Delhi, I saw them selling safety belts on the roadside. And I said, how can you sell that? The taxi driver told me that there's a magnet. So you put the magnet there, and you pretend it's there. So actually, it
just looks like it's a seat belt, but it's not.
To get past the cops. So this is our attitude to safety.
Yeah. We now have a very progressive law in this country to protect Good Samaritans. So if somebody sees a road accident, they won't be disturbed necessarily by the police. In fact, you will be encouraged to help the person in distress. The police will not harass you, and you know, you'll be part of an easier process. How important is this in terms of a message that you would like to send out?
It is very, very important. In fact, the golden hour rule is very, very well known, and the target is that the injured must reach to the nearest hospital as early as possible. So we have been appealing to people that if there is an accident, please help the victim reach the hospital as early as possible. And certainly we have sensitized our police officers, the investigating officers, that these people have to be encouraged, and absolutely there is zero tolerance to any harassment of these people. So that system is very, very, I mean, it's there with us, but just that still we notice that people are disinclined to actually help the victim. We have to have awareness campaigns on issues like that as well. As regards the voluntary compliances, I would say that if we have been conducting drunken drives every night at vulnerable locations, at vulnerable hours, and we see that the percentage of people who are found drunk has gone down to 10%. If we were checking 100...
10% of what it was?
Of what it was. If we were checking 100
Even what,
people...
2 years back?
Of a year back. I would say that if we were checking 100 people and we would notice 90 of them drunk, today we don't even find 5 to 6 people drunk. Every night, for example, a year back, if we were making out, say, around 100 cases of drunken driving, today we get around 10 to 15 cases.
And what action are you taking against those who you do catch? Because that's another part, enforcement.
That's the legal position is there. They are proceeded against under the Motor Vehicles Act,
and
the punishment
you're
is
strict
pretty
about
stringent,
this.
very, very stringent. In fact, the breath analyzers are now. I mean, we have introduced technology to it. We get live. It's a GPS-based thing. We get live feeds in our control room of who has been checked, who has been stopped, what is their alcohol level. So all these, to bring about transparency, we record everything. We are into evidence-based policing. And some other steps like meetings of the bar owners to install alco booths. For example, alco booths have been very, very, helpful, where people themselves go and check their alcohol levels before deciding to whether they are going to take a taxi cab back home or whether they're going to drive. So steps like that is, in fact, apart from drunken driving, I would say over speeding. Now we have installed speed cameras at vulnerable locations. At one particular location, if for one night we found around 1,000 people crossing the speed limit of 80, we noticed that today it is only around 100 to 150 people crossing those speed limits, because they are all technologies being used. Now without human intervention, we get the camera, we get the feeds from the camera about the speed limit, and we automatically the challan is generated.
Abanti, you know, as a corporate in Diageo, how is don't drink and drive 100% of your philosophy? How is it something that is a key message that you want to send out?
So for us, like I said, you know, it's very important that as an alcohol company, we know that our brands are being consumed responsibly, because if that's not the case, then, you know, we don't have a sustainable business going forward, and more importantly, it's simply the wrong thing to do in a society. So for us, in this market where road safety is a big issue, we absolutely have to make sure we can do the kind of things that we are doing, Vishnu, to ensure that we are part of the problem, not part of the problem, but part of the solution. But the other thing that I want to just say here is that in this program, we are together with NDTV really trying to bring a holistic conversation on road safety. So while it is important to address anti-drink drive, it's also important to address 4 other critical factors, all of which were mentioned by the panelists. Education is a big one, engineering is a big one, enforcement, and emergency response. So these are, what we call the 4 E's of road safety, and therefore really creating that larger conversation and spurring action on all 4 pillars is what our program is meant to do. And I'm really delighted to say that this year, just like ISME, Ms. Shahne's ISME has partnered with us, we've actually got 300 colleges across the length and breadth of the country launching a program called iSafe, which has been led by IIT Delhi. And there are about 20,000 students in these 300 colleges who've participated.
Yeah.
So, we are trying to kind of mobilize
Yeah.
The youth of the country as well.
And speaking about young people being involved, we've actually got a lot of young people over here with us as well who are actively part of this. United for Mumbai. Then there's the Road Safety Foundation as well and their representatives, and the CII Young Indians Road Safety Division. Raise your hands over there in the back. Let me just ask you, United for Mumbai, and do we have a mic that can go across to actually any one of you? When you reach out to people and try and spread your message, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face? Any one of you?
One of our targets has been to reach out to these youth who ride 2-wheelers, and the project is called 2 Wheels, 1 Life. And the first challenge we face is, it's a boredom for them when you talk about safety, when you talk about wearing helmet while riding. Because we cannot afford to steal away that cool factor of riding while talking to them. And hence, when we want to tell the youth about such important things, we organize a competition. You don't like these helmets, they are boring. Okay, you design your own helmet, apply your creativity and design your own helmet in a way you want. And in that intercollegiate competition, we got fantastic ideas that the youth came forth with. The other way was drunken driving. The youth that we deal with are the college-going youth. And some of them are on the verge of getting exposed to alcohol. Some of them have already been exposed. And you are not sure how do you really address this issue of drunken driving, responsible drinking and responsible driving. So we got these drunk busters. These are alcohol simulated impact giving goggles, which once these youth wear, and they are made to perform certain simple tasks, like let's say walk in a straight line. And when you fumble, when you stumble, when you are not able to walk in a straight line even for 10 steps, the student realizes the fact that, oh my God, I couldn't walk 10 feet in a straight line. How am I supposed to
fabulous
ride?
Way of actually demonstrating. I think it's wonderful to hear stories like this and the work that a lot of you are carrying on, because you really are on the streets and you are fighting this cause, and without your contribution a lot of this wouldn't have been possible. But we will continue with this effort to spread awareness, and there are so many aspects of this which we need to keep talking about. And hopefully, the goal over here is very simple. We need to save lives, and let's hope we can go far in doing that. Thanks very much for being with us. Thank you.